Your hair looks good, by the way.
My hair looks good?
Yeah.
Thank you.
No problem.
Does it look different than most days?
I'm here to help you. I'm here to pick you up when you're feeling low. It's me. I'm a helper.
Oh, that's who you are. Oh, okay. No. I got you. I'm a little slow. But thank you.
Yeah. Not really.
You. It does make you feel good.
Everybody's confused, but we're going to take away some of the confusion here in just a little bit. Welcome back to GPS to God. So glad you guys are here. Daniel Sanders, Stefano Patterson, Ryan Gotro, and today we have with us Mr. Andrew Phillips. Thanks for being here, buddy.
Absolutely. Glad to be here.
So glad you're here. This is going to be a good one. We've teased Andrew about coming on, I don't know, probably for 6 months now.
Quite a bit.
Better be a good one then.
That's true, I know.
On our end or his end?
I feel like there's a lot of pressure.
I think on ours. Man, we're going to have to.
I would like to defer that pressure straight across to that seat right there. But really, we were just trying to get the studio set up a little bit better. So this is only the second week we've had this nice little wall art here. Yeah. So you can see that if you're watching on YouTube. We got a brand new website, Andrew.
Okay.
So we're coming up in the world, gpstogod.com. So go check that out. Lots of cool stuff you can do on there. Sign up for a newsletter. We're going to start doing that maybe. We have not done it yet, but you know what? We recorded ahead, so pressure's not on yet. We don't have a deadline yet. But, man, you can do that. You can make a donation. You can find out about us, find out about the people that come on here, check out the latest episodes, all that cool kind of stuff. gpstogod.com. You can email us, mailroom@gpstogod.com. Drop us a line. I think you can send a message even without email. I think our website is that cool. You can just send a message on the website.
Are we that fancy?
We're that fancy.
Does somebody get it, though?
Big time.
Does anyone get the message?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's checked regularly.
It is checked regularly. So I check it at least once a week. So
I only ask because at our work, we used to have like this black hole because we had like this starter website. And we didn't know anything really about it. And so, but apparently it had like this email link, and people would call and say, hey, I emailed like through the website a long time ago, and no one ever got it. I have no idea where they ever went, where the emails went. It was just this black hole. So we've since fixed that. But so now I have to check when people say that you can email through the website, like, does anyone actually get it? It's a legit question.
Once a week?
Okay.
No, I check it more than that.
Okay.
At a minimum, I would, I'll check it at least weekly.
Okay.
I mean, we record weekly, so as long as I got it before that next episode, we're good.
Gotcha.
We're good. But, no, mailroom@gpstogod.com. You can email us the old-fashioned way. Send us a message on the website. We'd love to have either way. So, we'll give you our street address if you want to send us some gifts. I mean, we're not picky over here.
Send them on.
I mean, Ryan's going to need diapers and formula here.
Send it, please.
Well,
I mean,
countdown is on.
Yeah.
It is. Per today, actually tomorrow, it'll be 3 weeks.
So really, by the time we release the first episode this go round, you're probably getting.
It's not official, but
close.
we're thinking August 18th. That sometime that day is when we'll go into the we'll go in.
It's awesome.
So this episode might come out around then. What day is that?
That's a Thursday.
So we would come out the Monday before that, maybe. Yeah, I think
Possibly,
that's when this will come out.
Yep.
Somewhere around there. So
nervous but excited. So we have Lily, so we kind of understand what's coming around, but. I mean, it's a baby, so it's always a new thing. So.
Everybody else here has multiple children in their house, and we all are looking at you like you think you know what's coming because you already got one.
Yep,
dude, you got no idea.
We don't want to spoil it though.
No,
I mean 1, 2, 7. It's all the same thing, right?
Yeah. No, it's not. Nope.
We don't want to steal the thunder.
No.
Andrew has the most.
Yes, he does.
I was waiting for him. You told me this before. You were like, a lot of people say, well, if you have 2, you might as well just have 4. And
it's a lie.
And you're like, it's a lie.
It is. It absolutely is. 3 rocked my world.
Yeah.
I will say.
Only started to recover.
So my kids are the oldest out of the 4 of us. Now that they are pretty much self-sufficient, I wish we would have more. Not that we,
like 4
whatever.
Or just like 3?
I mean, 1 more is good at least. But,
okay.
I mean, like I can see where people, they're like, oh, yeah, give me like 8. I'm good. Like, once you get that bug. But
right.
at the same time, I just finished up last month with probably my last dad coaching experience where because my son is now moving into school teams.
Yep.
Right.
Man, I'm like, what time is practice over? All right, I'll pick you up. That is so nice. Like, I'm not there planning practice and going to practice,
I was
leading
expecting the
practice.
opposite.
That's
that.
what I was thinking.
I was expecting like the
thought there was-
teary-eyed, like,
yeah.
oh, I got to go from the field, now I got to go to the stands.
So
not,
it is sad.
Not emotional in any way.
It's a good thing, bad thing, right? Because I
Yeah.
really enjoy it. And I told Christy, Carter made his all-star team this past summer. I was like, make sure you get plenty of pictures during this all-star time because this is it. This is probably the last time we'll be on the field together as a coach and player, father, son, right? Because I'm not going to coach school teams. And
You never know.
I mean, never know, but I have
Never say
coached.
never.
I have coached school teams in the past.
Yes,
Right.
you have.
But I have no ambitions to do that in the future. It is so much fun to just sit there and watch. Like, what time is practice? I'll pick you up and talk to him about practice. He comes home, hey man, how'd practice go? What'd y'all do?
Yeah.
And let him tell me about. He's playing football this year. He's on the football team. It's the first time he's ever played football, so new experience for him.
Christy's letting him do that?
Oh yeah, I mean, he would have played it before, but he was always in another sport,
Gotcha.
and we didn't want him to play two sports at the same time.
I gotcha.
That was kind of selfish on our part, but we have multiple reasons for it. We didn't want to taxi him all over. You're already taxiing him just in one sport. But
No doubt.
two sport. I was traveling a lot at the time, like for extended periods.
Right.
So it kind of all fell on Christy, and she's like, I'm not doing that, which I totally understood.
Yeah.
And for him, it was
Sure.
a decision like, pick. You can play whatever you want to play, but pick which one you play, pick a sport. So,
Right.
For that season. But it's fun. I mean, just watching. What time you want me to pick you up? All right, I'll be there.
Just being the parent.
Yeah, just being a parent, just
parent
watching,
coach.
checking out. Yeah. Fun so far. Now,
Wait
we'll
till he
see.
turns 16, then he has his car and everything, and you don't have to.
Even better.
Hey,
Like-
when are you going to be home so I can make sure dinner's ready?
Might change during the season, maybe. Maybe you'll get the itch.
It may, but it's
Yeah.
right now. It's because there's a big difference between paying. Like, we're paying for you to play that you're going to play, right? You're not
Yeah.
going to get cut from a team, and now it's school time. and
Right.
you're trying out. You may not even be on the team.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
We've been talking about that for a year and a half. Like, in other sports, it's like, hey, you need to work on this because school time is coming. Like,
Yep.
it's not automatic anymore.
Right.
But I don't know how we got off on sports. But
It's
fun
easy to
time.
go
Kids are
Right.
great. Kids are great.
Love them.
Yeah. And my daughter drives now, so that's great. It's like,
Nice.
man, we need
That's
one
great.
thing from the
Man,
it.
I'm scared. I can't think about
Okay,
that
so I
stuff.
will say
Have her do the pickup at practice.
she does
for you,
sometimes,
and then
but
you
they
can
don't
just-
end at the same
just,
time. Her practice, his practice, they don't always end together.
That's it. Okay.
Very nerve-wracking. So my
Yeah.
daughter, I would say, drove the typical amount for a city kid, right? Farm kids start driving when they're 6 years old,
That's true.
right?
Yeah.
But she has driven the typical amount of time for a city kid and got her license. And just like all of us, the day we got our license, dude, I can drive anywhere in the world.
Yes.
You're right. That's our mindset.
Yep.
So she's like, I can go. Give me. And she had a hand-me-down car, so she was blessed with that. We were blessed with that, all this kind of stuff. And I was super nervous. I'm like, daddy mind takes over and like, you have not driven enough. Right? And we would let her drive as much as she wanted to when she had her permit and stuff. Like,
Sure.
but I was like, ooh, to go out by yourself it is very nerve-wracking. And I was talking to a buddy of mine, and I was like, man, she just doesn't have enough driving experience. And he's like, the only way she can get it is to drive. Like, you got to let her drive to get that experience. I'm like, I know. But now, like, she's been driving for a while, and we just, have a comfort level. And it's like, hey, we need just eggs from the store. Just Ashley, run down to the store and get that for us. That part's nice, but definitely nervous.
Yeah.
Definitely
Sure.
nervous. Yeah, y'all will find out.
Just can't think about it.
Yeah.
Right now, y'all just got to soak
hard
up
to
those.
believe.
Yeah.
It
I
is.
don't have time to think about that right now.
No,
Survive in
exactly.
advance. Survive in advance
Yeah.
to the next day.
Yeah, but you do, like, right now. So my kids are 17 and 12. Right now, I'm just now starting to hit the I miss little kids kind of phase.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So it does happen.
It's because you've been sleeping for a while.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you've gotten good sleep for probably 5 years straight.
Yes.
Yeah.
And now you miss it.
Now I miss it. But
Nice.
When you're sleep deprived, you can't miss it. You're just in the middle of the storm.
yes. Yeah. Now our first, like when Ashlyn was born, we had a great system. Christy was staying at home, and Sunday night through Thursday night, she would get up all night whenever she needed to, because I had to get up and go to work. And then Friday night and Saturday night were my 2 days where she got to sleep, and those 2 days a week nearly killed me.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I don't know how you do this, but I'm glad you're doing it. And I mean, it was rough. I was full on admitting this is. Whew, can we call your mom to come stay the night or something? Like, man.
It's by any means necessary,
Yes.
It was. Yeah.
especially when both are working.
Yeah.
Oh, it's rough.
Yeah.
Great times. Have all the kids you want in the world, people.
I say it's rough, but Lily tends to go to Dawn, so it's like every night Dawn wakes up the next morning and she's like, I hate you. Because she goes to her. And I'm just like, I'm sorry. If she came to me, I'd take her.
Well,
So.
you would get a chance to.
You're moving to
number two.
man-on-man defense here. So.
Yep. So, yeah, I think Lily has a rude awakening come. So,
Now, do your kids? You have 3. Were their sleep habits different?
Oh yeah, still are to this day.
And what's the age spread?
So Paxton's 5, almost 6. Harper's 3, almost 4, and Asher just turned 1. And so Paxton is my worst sleeper still to this day. The oldest one, and he's had night terrors since he was about a year old, and still plagues him. I mean, last night he was still up multiple times. They say he's going to grow out of it, and I keep hope alive that he'll grow out of it. But he has
will.
not yet.
It is a fight because
It is.
Ashlyn, my wife first told me I'd never heard that term before. I was like, that is a made up thing you saw on Oprah or something like that. It's legit. And
yeah.
Ashlyn would get up, she would sleepwalk, she'd walk all through the house, have a
Yep.
conversation, not even know the next day, you remember this?
Wow.
No. We talked for 10 minutes.
Yeah. You almost injured yourself.
Yes.
And you can't remember any of it.
Yes.
Yeah, that's how it goes, for sure.
Yeah. But she would, if she was in our bed, even if we weren't in there, but if we were in there, if she was in our bed, knocked out, she'd be good. Her bed, no, it ain't happening.
Paxton, it doesn't matter the bed. It's everywhere. It's anywhere you go. It's in our bed. He's going to wake up and he's turn sideways and kick you out of the bed. He's rough, but God showed some grace, and he gave us 2 other good sleepers. So Harper is a sound sleeper. She sleeps through his night terrors, which is amazing because they sleep in the same room at this point. 'Cause we have
that's
bunk
awesome.
beds.
Yeah.
And then Asher, as an infant, didn't sleep. No infants do. But he's to the point now where he does. He slept till 9 o'clock the last 2 days.
Wow.
So I feel like God was shining down and saying, all right, you've got 1 that won't sleep, but I'm going to give you 2 that will.
Yeah.
So
It
It's
does
been nice.
seem like you go right to the brink and I'm about to break.
Yeah.
And then you get one good night, you're like, whew, all right.
it'll
That's all
last
I
you
needed.
a while.
Yeah.
Yes.
For sure.
What about Grant and
they've always been good sleepers. They have. I mean, since early on, they've slept on like 7, 8 o'clock. They turn into pumpkins, and they will sleep. And they spoiled us.
so many parents hate you right now?
Well,
Yep.
that's why whenever
That's
you talk
including
about
me.
sleeping, I never really. Lori and I usually just sit there and don't say anything because they've always, for some odd reason, because we thought Amelia was just so good sleeping through the night, we were like, surely Grant's going to be terrible. But they both, once they're out somehow. Somehow.
Ashlyn was up, night terrors, all this stuff. Carter did not want to be in our bed, never wanted to be in our bed. It was like, I'm out. I'm going to bed. I'll see y'all tomorrow.
Yeah.
He's like, see you. I'm out.
Yeah.
Even today, he won't. Because we have a TV in our bedroom. So if he's sick or something, hey, man, you want to go lay in our bed and turn TV on? Nah, I'll be all right. Okay. Keep that sickness
There you
in
go.
Yeah.
Stay over there.
But, man, That wasn't planned. We got so many things to talk about with Andrew. Who
all
knew
good,
it was
man.
going to be kids?
Hey, man.
Yeah.
Might be
Kids
2
are great.
episodes, man. Who knows?
Yeah, it could be. We didn't even bring a guitar up here. Ryan asked me that, but
I did.
we did.
Fail.
Andrew is a
Fail.
musician.
That can be next time.
So
Yeah, look, already squeezing his way in.
hey, no.
Set take 2, and I like it. I'm in.
He doesn't have to squeeze. We're going to
No.
we
bust
can have
open the
we can
door.
have a whole
No, it
episode
is.
just on him singing. So
There we go, man.
We have teased
Singing,
that
playing.
for a year. We've been on the air for a year now.
Yep.
We've teased that the whole time. Let's have somebody sing. It's going to
Yeah.
happen. Andrew might be the first one, but Ryan's he's like, "Hey man, are you asking him to sing and play a song today?" I was like, "Not today. We'll save it." But
Yeah.
so
Should
much
have.
other stuff.
Should have.
Yeah. Well, we primed the pump. He's already coming back again, so
Yeah.
we'll
Good,
make
man.
it happen. But
I do have something random that I wanted to bring up. So one of the things that we talked about in the past was how my man over here acted like a big girl when a raccoon showed up at his house,
Yeah,
right?
I did.
So speaking of raccoons, your sister found one and
What's
she
that?
put it on social media.
Yeah.
And I thought she would have taken this like you
Right.
in your way and screamed like a
Oh,
little
I'm sure
girl.
she was a lot tougher
She
than
took
us.
this thing like a champ.
Oh,
it
I'm
was
sure
her
she
baby.
did. Yeah.
She
Wow.
had it in a blanket, all cuddled up. Like I was
Was
like,
it a
right.
full grown?
I'm-
Was this
I'm
like
gonna-
a baby raccoon, or was this
No.
like
I
a
think-
full?
I'm coming
This
to
was full
some
grown.
defense here.
yeah.
The situation he found himself in warranted
Thank you.
at
Daniel.
least
I appreciate that.
3 to 5 seconds of freak out time.
It was.
All right.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean,
so
we're
so
talking-
let's not make out like
Yeah.
they were walking down
I
the
appreciate
street
that.
at high
That's-
noon and
that's
saw
good.
each other
That's
coming
good.
from a
Still,
while,
under
a
no
mile away.
circumstance should you squeal like a girl when I'm a 45-year-old man. But I mean, yeah, it was different.
At night
10 o'clock at night.
Right. Yeah.
All
inside a trash
quiet
can.
inside. I mean, pitch black. Just a little bit of light from like the door, and I open it up. And
It was a
comes
story about a
barreling
raccoon.
out
I had
at
to
me.
bring it up. I had to bring it up.
Gotcha.
But yes,
I did not hear that story. I'd
No,
like
I
to
haven't
hear that
either.
about
What's the
Well,
deal
I don't
with
know.
Brooke?
I mean, you might know more just because it's your sister, right? But
Right.
she, from what I understand, she found it at like it was stuck in her trash can.
Well, it was stuck in mom and dad's trash can.
Okay. Okay.
So dad heard it rustling around. So clearly it had been stuck in there all night because mom took the trash out the night before, tossed the trash bag in, and because they've had a tendency to have their trash cans knocked over by animals, they put a heavy rock on top.
okay.
So nothing got in or out after mom did that. And
Right.
so clearly it was in there the whole time. And so dad heard something rustling around in the trash can, didn't really want to mess with it.
Right.
And so I think at that point, my youngest sister Whitney was coming up the driveway, and he was like, "Hey, by the way, can you check that out?" And Whitney is tough and brave, and so she's fearless. So she had no issue with it. So she opens it up. It's like, "Oh yeah, there's a raccoon in there," and it was like, overheated.
Oh, yeah.
and, been in that hot trash can the entire night.
It's been brutal 100-degree weather.
Right.
Yes, and so she
Exactly.
immediately has compassion on this raccoon.
Yeah.
And, is able to flip the trash can over, help it out. It really can't hardly even walk. So
Right.
she's nursing the raccoon back to health.
Yeah.
And
So this was Whitney?
Whitney, yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
Kind of bottle feeding it, just trying anything
Oh,
it
see.
can to help this raccoon hydrate.
Wow.
Brooklyn had the pictures or
She
whatever,
did.
so I
She
just
did.
assumed it was her that had.
I mean, did
Brooke
had
documented.
Did
She
he get a
documented.
new sister, Brooklyn? I mean, her name is Brooke.
It is
but-
Brooke. And her
Okay,
middle name
well-
is not Lynn, although a lot of people do think her middle
I'm
name
sorry.
is Lynn.
On Instagram, it says
It
Brooklyn.
is because that's more of a nickname, maybe. I don't know,
Okay.
but it just kind
I'm
of
sorry,
stuck.
Brooke. If you watch this, I'm sorry that I've called you now 3 times Brooklyn.
I was about
You called her that to her face?
I called her that on Sunday morning, and she
Yeah.
didn't say a word to me.
She
So
lets it go. You're not the first.
my fault.
It's okay.
She's
Wow.
like, creep. Who's this creep at? Who's this creep at church? It's
But-
calling me Brooklyn.
Well, don't beat yourself up. You're not the first
Yeah.
one to do it.
My
We'll
fault.
beat you up, though.
Yeah,
Don't worry.
yeah.
Oh, I know. I bring it to myself, so it's whatever. I'm just going what it said.
That's awesome.
But no, Brooke was documenting. She took some really good pictures of it. But yeah, Whitney wraps up this raccoon in a towel and bottle fed it, nursed it back to health,
I thought it was cool.
Wow.
and walked it back out into the wild and released it. When it had regained
Wow.
strength.
And now they check in once a week.
They-
Make sure everybody's doing good.
It wouldn't shock me. It really wouldn't.
I did not
Whitney's
get
got
the
a
chance
soft
to do
heart.
that with our raccoon. Did not give it a chance.
Yeah, I don't know that I would have either.
Yeah. It just fled.
Yeah.
Fled into the night.
Yeah. You disturbed this buffet. He
I,
was like,
I did. I don't know what it got to eat, but it was, yeah.
Got cut short either way.
Yeah, it did.
So I thought
Good stuff.
when he first said that, I thought Brooke was the one. I just didn't see her as the let me swaddle a raccoon type.
She does love animals, but I don't know that would have been her first instinct either.
Yeah,
It probably
Brooke,
wouldn't be
very nice, but
too
she
many.
is like
She was close to going down the route of being a veterinarian. She really thought about it for a long time. She does love animals, so she would have been next in line. I'd have been last in line to nurse the raccoon back to health.
oh yeah, tip the trash can, run on,
Yeah, come on.
crawl yourself out of here.
Exactly. You're better than this. Get up.
Yeah. It's only been
You're
100
embarrassing yourself.
4 days in a row.
So out of that story, now I have to go say some apologies now to someone that I named the wrong thing.
It's all good.
So talking about your parents, that's a great segue of something we wanted to discuss tonight anyway, of just their story. You know, we're not going to get into a big, long, drawn-out thing, but can you tell the story about your parents and what they've gone through over the last year?
Yeah, absolutely. So we found out, I guess it would have been about a year ago, maybe a year and a half, that Dad was born with one kidney. We had no idea. He had no idea. He might have known a little bit longer than we did, but didn't know for the majority of his life, had no reason to check. But his doctor had found that he was in kidney failure for seemingly no reason. Just felt like out of the blue. He seemed young for it. And so they decided they would do some testing, and they found that he was born with one kidney. It's a rare thing, but it does happen. And so that kidney was just overworked. He's 60 years old, and it was failing, essentially. So started working through the process of what that would look like, and really quickly, because I guess we were probably late in finding out, he moved through the stages of kidney failure pretty fast. So before we know it, like, he's in stage 4, and the doctors are saying this is getting exponentially worse. So we're facing either dialysis or transplant. And the transplant list is difficult and can be long. And so start with, you can talk to your family if you have anyone that wants to be tested to see if they're a match, if they'd be willing to do the surgery, things of that nature. And so Whitney actually was first to jump on it. She's our family doctor anyways. And so she had the form. She just, Johnny on the spot. She had the forms, filled them out, sent them in before any of us even know where to even get started. And
Cares for people and animals.
Yeah,
right?
she does. She
Like
is. And so sends it in, and they come back and find that she's a match. And then immediately Mom starts in, I want to be tested. And I don't really think very many of us thought there was a chance that she would be a match. I don't know, just didn't really make any sense. I thought there was a chance that me and my sisters would be, but then Mom was adamant that she wanted to do it. She wanted it to be her. And I can remember having this conversation and saying, Mom, you can't will this to happen. But nevertheless, by all means, be tested. And she did, and was a match. And we were pretty much all floored. But she was a match, and then she still had to go through some other steps to make sure that she was fit for the surgery. And she was, passed all of this with flying colors. And then the doctors kind of came back and said, not only is she a match, but it's kind of about the perfect setup, because they really like you to be in a close age range. And they're the same age within, a few months of each other. And so they were like, this really couldn't be drawn up any better. And so they had the surgery almost 6 months ago. It'll be 6 months in about a week's time. And Mom is doing fantastic. She's recovered from the surgery, is really back to normal. Took her a while to gain her strength and energy, but she did. And Dad's doing really well, in my opinion. That's how I like to preface it, because I think when you're the person that had the surgery, you don't have as much patience. I'm on the outside looking in, and I see that the kidney's doing great, that it's responding well, that his kidney function is vastly better than it was pre-surgery, and I think he's doing fantastic. And he knows that he doesn't always feel great. And that's really largely due to this laundry list of medications that they've got him on, because the body will fight against the kidney if he's not on medication, stop it essentially. So there is light at the end of the tunnel, and they have just kind of told him to stay patient, that it's a longer process than you want it to be. It's not quick. You'll start to feel a little better in small increments. And then he's hoping that 1 year mark, that's kind of what they've kind of set out there as a goal, at that 1 year mark, to feel noticeably better. So anyhow, it's been a whirlwind, I'd say, for the last 6 months.
Sure.
Something you told me that makes great sense that I had never put any thought to, because I've not had anyone in this situation in my life, but both of your parents now will be in kidney failure for the rest of their life.
Yep.
Because your mom went from being healthy, and total normal kidney function. Well, now she gave one away.
Exactly.
So, like, I had never thought about that before. Makes total sense, though.
Yep. After the surgery, Dad's kidney doctor was like, okay, I guess we just sign you up now. And you'll be a kidney patient for the rest of your life because you will have one kidney now for the rest of your life, too.
Yeah.
And so you'll be in kidney failure, which sounds scary.
Right.
The idea is that by a good diet and exercise and trying to be smart about what you're doing, the hope is to keep it in one of the early stages. And it should be stable theoretically, and there's a lot of people that have had great success with it and said you can have a very stable life from then on, essentially. So she's disciplined, and that was really all Mom needed to know, because she, from that point on, she was going to be disciplined about what was allowed in the house, what they're eating. She's got it. She has got it. She's a really good cook. We were over there having dinner the other night, and she made something, and it was fantastic. She's like, oh, by the way, there's no salt in this. I was like, I wouldn't have known. It was great. I have no clue. I thought it was fantastic. She's a wizard over there. She can make things that, don't have bad things in them, and they still taste great. It's impressive. She's taking good care of Dad.
She might need to cook for Jackson.
Maybe.
Your nephew.
Maybe. That kid.
Terrible eater. Like,
Kid
he will not eat
touch
anything.
If it's not like a dinosaur chicken nugget, that's about it, I think.
I mean, like, super picky.
Yeah.
Really.
Crazy.
He is.
Grant's pretty bad. He doesn't like chicken nuggets.
Yeah.
That's right. I forgot about
No mac and cheese.
Those are some staples, too.
I know.
I would have starved to death as a kid
Yeah.
without those two.
Yeah,
For sure.
he's very,
Does he go the opposite way and like adventurous things?
No.
Or,
I mean,
okay.
he likes spaghetti.
Okay.
Like any kind of pasta, but it has to be red sauce, nothing white sauce. He'll eat like hot dogs, cheeseburger. But I mean, and he'll eat vegetables. So I guess,
That's
but
positive.
like you're
Yeah.
just like any kind of sandwich.
He's out.
Grilled cheese when he wants to, but any kind of sandwich or anything like that, nothing. Like peanut butter and jelly.
This may ruin him, and it may take a biggie off the list, but you could tell him next time he has a hamburger, be like, it's a hamburger sandwich.
He knows.
Like, just to get
Hold
him
up,
in,
do
just
what?
to get him
It's a
in,
what?
just to get him in the sandwich lane
Put, like,
a little
some-
bit.
like a ham and bread or whatever. Like, yeah. But yeah. What do you do?
Maybe he'll try some other
What do you do?
things. So,
Maybe so.
Harper's really picky eater.
Maybe so. So
And
hopefully he'll break
there's a lot
out
of those things that
Yeah.
she won't eat,
Right.
but she makes up for it by trying things that most kids will not. Like,
Really?
she's the one. She likes salmon.
Yeah, really.
She eats salads.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
How many 3-year-olds do you know that would like a
Yeah.
salad with ranch dressing?
That's
Well, Harper would.
that's
It's interesting. I mean,
That's
she's the
awesome.
one who's at this point we've gotten to where, we don't order her many kids meals because
Yeah.
she's more likely to eat what's on my plate.
gotcha.
So
That's awesome.
Man, she's got that Gordon Ramsay palate
yeah.
going
Yeah.
on.
it's very
good.
interesting.
That is.
Yeah.
That is. Back to your parents. That's
Oh, yeah.
unbelievable that your mom is like a match.
It really
I mean,
was.
that's
But what love is that,
I mean,
though? I mean,
yeah.
I mean, obviously your sisters and your mom. They just. I mean, it sounds like they just pretty much was like, without a doubt, let's sign up for this.
Right.
There's no questions. I mean, you'd like to say that you would do that for your family too, but when in reality, does it just boom? Let's go do it. Where's the papers at? It's done. Let's
Right.
do it.
Most people hesitate,
Yeah.
because there's other factors at play.
Yeah.
for sure.
And so you're thinking about your own life and other people that are impacted by it because
Exactly.
the surgery is not a guarantee. And they walk you through all of those things pre-surgery and tell you all the terrible things that can happen and can go wrong, and they have to give you all those worst case scenarios.
Exactly. Yeah.
But it's one of those situations that most people wouldn't run to. And so the only thing that would make you run to that situation is just loving the person and wanting them to have a better life, a better quality
exactly.
of life.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
So yeah.
Talking about love and giving and personalities and all that kind of stuff. We're going to get into it today. We took a personality test,
Did
all three of us.
we did?
Yep.
Mine, the results I got back,
Do you agree with them?
I agree with most of them. Most of them hit pretty well. There are some that did
You
not.
don't. Yeah.
But
It'll never be 100%.
it's never going to be
It's
100%,
not, no,
right? Like,
no.
it can't be a
Some that hit
Daniel
well,
Sanders
yeah.
exam,
Right.
right? You know,
Some
but
hit well that you don't want to hit well, but
That's
they
true.
do.
most of mine I'm not afraid to admit that
Yeah.
hit. But Andrew is an expert. We brought in an
coach.
expert, and
We might have oversold that a little bit.
He should be basically getting paid for this stuff because
Should
he's
be.
that good at it.
Should be.
I mean, on this podcast, you're an
He is
expert.
an expert
Yep.
for sure.
You are an expert. So we
I
brought
feel
in
like I
an
can
expert.
accept that.
So, I mean, he brought multiple books with him. I mean, he brought the
he
Bible
knows.
and
I
then
did,
multiple
I did.
other
He
books.
knows
So
all.
He was supposed to bring the book that has his name at the bottom of it, but he forgot that one, so he brought other books. So
it's coming.
He's still got time.
Go
Still
to-
got a lot of time.
Go to GPS the Guide and pre-order Andrew's next bestseller.
you'll be getting emails next week. Where's this book at?
Yeah, pre-order.
You're
We'll let
early.
you know.
You're really early on this
really
pre-order.
early.
You're ahead of the
Yeah,
curve. You're
Exactly.
ahead of the curve.
But you got a great deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't even have to put a deposit down right
Early
now.
bird
Exactly.
special. Early bird
Show us
special.
you're interested.
Yeah.
Let's come up with a promo code. Like promo code Ryan for 100% free right now. 100% off. But, yeah, we'll send it as soon as we get it.
There you
As soon
go.
as it comes from the publisher.
Yeah.
We'll
Exactly.
send it.
There you go.
But what'd you bring with you?
Well, I brought my two favorite books on Enneagram, mainly so I could give credit where credit is due, because these aren't things that I necessarily came up with off the top of my head. So first I've got my favorite book, which is The Enneagram, A Christian Perspective by Richard Rohr. And I really like that one because it was the first one actually that I read through about the Enneagram, and I was brand new to it. And it's a really deep read, and one of those things where you'll end up reading it probably multiple times to really gauge the content. But I really enjoyed the take and really kind of applying Christian principles, and we can talk about some of that. And he goes through his opinion of some types in the Bible. So we go through for each number, hey, here's someone who probably was that number in the Bible. So it just adds a little bit of color, which I think is fun. And like all books, there's parts of it that are great, and then parts of it that are not. You take the good and you throw out the rest. And so that's kind of my philosophy on books in general. No book is, other than the Bible, is going to be 100% fantastic, but it's got some good stuff.
Right.
The other one is The Road Back to You by Egan Morgan Crone and Suzanne Stabile. I don't know if I'm pronouncing those right or not, but
They're not going
they're not going to know. They're not going to know or care.
Yeah.
But another really good book, a very practical book. So this is the one that's my mom's favorite, because this is more practical, helping you with relational things and walking through it from that angle. It's not so much like a deep dive into it, but it's really good practical. This would be something you could apply, and you can use this in your day-to-day life and relationships with other people. So two really good resources that I've enjoyed that have just kind of helped me understand a little bit more about this study, because I feel like I guess you maybe initially look at it as a personality study, but it's really not what it is once you get into it. Because for me, personality study is something where you uncover something about yourself, and then you sit back and say, okay, here's who I am, take it or leave it. This is how God made me, so I hope you like it. And if you don't, I'm sorry, I'm not changing. This is just how God made me to be. And so I feel like so many times personality study is just like an excuse to be how you are, or to be however you think you should be. And so I've never really liked them. You do them in school sometimes, you do them in job interviews, and I've just never really cared for them because I didn't like the end result. And so when a guy in my discipleship group brought this to my attention, I'd never heard of this before, like 5 years ago. And he brought it up as a possibility. And which, on that tangent, discipleship group is maybe something else we talk about some other time. It's a big topic, but something I'm really passionate about as well. But one of the things that we do in our group is we have scripture readings and scripture memory each week, and we try to have a book outside of our scripture readings that we're working through, typically a Christian book or something on a spiritual discipline. And so we brought this one up, and none of us in the group had any idea what it was. And so we were like, okay, we'll give it a shot, and if it stinks, we'll throw it out. But it was just really kind of cool to kind of dive into it and just kind of see what it had to offer. But it's really not a personality study. It is on the surface. I think that's probably the hook. That's how they get people in. But really, I think what it's used for, at least how I've used it, is just as like a growth tool. It's, it's just like if you walked out to your garage, you've got multiple tools, right? You don't have there's not just one tool that fixes everything. You got multiple tools, and this is one tool that can help you grow deeper emotionally and eventually spiritually, because I've always felt like, emotional maturity and spiritual maturity go hand in hand. And if one is lacking, it will hold back the other. And so if you really want to grow spiritually, which most believers will say they do, then you got to be able to put in some work emotionally too, or else it will hold you back, because there will be blind spots in your life. And that's really kind of what, for me, that's really what the Enneagram did, is it exposed some blind spots that I just didn't think existed. So
we told you he was an expert. There it is.
Yeah,
that little 2-minute synopsis
Sorry.
proved it.
Yeah. No, don't apologize.
No.
We're all in.
How many types are there? We're going to get into the
Yeah,
types here
so
for us personally in a minute.
So there are 9 numbers. There are 9 types, 1 through 9. They number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And obviously there is color added because the way that they describe this is the numbers are in a circle. Because the idea is not to pigeonhole you. The idea is that there's movement within the numbers. There's movement even within where you move to in times of stress, and times when you're good and you're healthy and in a good mental space. But because they're circular, there's a number to each side, and they call that wings. So essentially, even within your number, it doesn't mean that that's going to be the only version of that number. There's a wing to each side. So there's going to be a direction that you lean, one side or the other, that will add some color to your own makeup and how God made you, and some of the own things that you've got going on in your life, and I guess some pitfalls, so to speak, and some strengths, weaknesses, that kind of stuff. So there's 9 numbers, but it's even bigger than those 9 numbers.
Yeah. Y'all took the test, right?
Mind blown right now.
Sorry.
I took the test and I got a number.
Let's start there, because that's the beginning. Ready. That's the beginning. Let's start.
Right. You know yours, obviously.
I do. I don't want to go first, though.
No, that's fine.
I'll go first.
Go ahead.
So I took the test, and it gave me the number 6.
Okay.
And it spit out that it said I was the loyal
You said it
guardian.
spat out?
Yep, spit out. Spit out at me.
He didn't want it, but he gave it to him anyway.
The
Yeah,
loyal
that
guardian.
old ticker tape machine just spit it out at me.
So the loyal guardian, and it said I was committed, responsible, faithful, suspicious, anxious. So
I agree with that last one. Not that I don't agree with the others, but I'm signing off on that last one.
yeah.
So one thing about 6s that I've come to know is that they have a tendency to deal in worst case scenarios. So do you find yourself thinking about worst case scenarios?
Oh, every day.
Okay.
Every day.
So this is probably pretty accurate.
Yo, yeah,
Okay.
it is. It hit me pretty much on the spot. So, yep. Definitely me.
You want to just go on the line here?
Oh, yeah, sure. I am a 9. I'm the peaceful accommodator, looks like. Says type 9s are people who are very receptive to their environment and downplay their own presence. They can be loving, down-to-earth, modest, and trusting, or stubborn, lazy, and asleep to themselves.
I mean, why are you laughing?
Yeah, why are you laughing?
What is your
I'm laughing because you're laughing. What is the deal?
There is a thought behind that laugh.
No. They're just. I mean, it is.
Don't lie in church.
I've been known to be stubborn. So, but yeah, it's pretty spot on.
And it's not going to all be roses. I mean, that's the whole
not at
thing.
all.
Like,
not at all. It steps on your toes.
If you're going to uncover things about yourself, there's good and there's bad.
Oh yeah,
and it's gonna show both. Hopefully,
but it's spot on. Don't like being in any kind of conflict or anything like that. I like to keep the peace.
Man, that's total opposite.
Total
Total opposite of me.
of you.
Conflict is just another. Man, it's just another competition.
Right. I hear you.
Yeah, bring it on.
I hear you.
So I am a type 3. Okay, first of all, how do you say enneagram? Is that right?
I think so.
Oh,
I'm not 100% sure, but that's what I go with. I like it.
We're in Tennessee. That's how we're going to say it. So
I say everything phonetically, so I think phonetically it's Enneagram.
So I'm a type 3, and that is called the successful achiever of all the Enneagram types. 3 stand out for their confidence, efficiency, and ability to excel and achieve incredible things for themselves and the teams they're on. Their drive to win and accomplish, love of competition, and willingness to work hard cause them to be action-oriented, successful in achieving the goals they set for themselves. Those things, coupled with their optimism, adaptability, and ability to inspire people, reflect the hope and radiance of God.
So Daniel goes in and searched all of them.
Yes,
and said,
yes.
which one sounds the best?
No. So that's not-
3. I like that one. That one sounds good.
There's something else I read that got to like the not so great part.
What's the negative side of a 3?
We,
gonna read
if
that
we
or
if we want to
not?
go
'Cause he
ahead and
didn't
dive
read
in,
that.
like
Because he didn't read
we
that
can
part.
dive.
Yes.
Well,
let's
I mean,
dive.
no, I
Let's
just
dive
read the
there.
little
Uh-huh.
like that's the synopsis paragraph
Yeah.
here, like at the top. You know,
That's
I'll
that's the
share
blurb
screen.
that's trying to get him to go in deeper.
Yeah, that's the hook.
Subscribe
Right?
here.
Got me.
Here's some great things about yourself. Subscribe here for more, right?
Here it is.
Click
Core
the box.
weakness. Core weakness. All right. Well, golly, there's a bunch. Let's skip the negative. Let's skip the negative. So core fear: being a failure, incompetent, inefficient, unproductive, exposed, worthless, or unable to appear successful. At least half of those are true.
I gotcha.
At least half of that's true. Like,
I will say-
in my mind, like
Yeah.
those are things like fear of not being a successful part of a team drives me crazy. Like,
Yeah.
I want to pull my weight on a team or better.
Right.
So
Yeah.
like that is
Well,
every single day. Think
one
about
thing that you said earlier was that like I might be a 6, but I might tail or I might wing to 2
Yeah.
other numbers.
Right.
So one of the things that this did is that it put me as like 83% being a type 6.
Okay.
But I was 91% a 9.
Okay.
But because I guess some of the last couple questions of the test or whatever, it actually put me more towards a 6. So
Well, and this, we might not be ready to go here just yet, but
Okay.
so one of the things about, and I just touched on it briefly, about the way that the circle works, because like I said, all the numbers are represented in a circle, but you move different directions. You have wings to your side, which are going to shade one or the other typically. But then you've got what they call consolation points. Essentially, they are numbers that you go to. There's a true consolation. There's a number that you go to in a good place, in a good mental space. And then there's a false consolation where you go to typically when you're stressed. And so the thing that's interesting about the 6 is that the true consolation point of a 6 is a 9. So theoretically, if you're a 6, true and true, then in good times and in good mental spaces, you're actually going to move to the characteristics of a 9, and you're going to display that, and you're going to have peacemaker tendencies when you're in a good place. And then where you go to actually in stress, funny as it is you go to a 3. So
and that's why we're all on this.
so theoretically, yeah, you guys make a triangle. Actually, you do. The 3, 6, and the 9 all make a triangle on this circle because you're moving different directions in good times and in bad.
That's a God thing.
Yep.
It is.
It very much is.
It is. So theoretically, that would mean that when you try to operate as a 3, when you get to be all about success and all about goal setting, it's probably not a good place for you to be long term. It's probably, it's a place you might find yourself moving to, but because it's false consolation, it probably means it doesn't bring you any joy. Like I only say that just because I can recognize it in my own life and my false consolations. So I'm a 1. Might be a time for me to just jump in and talk about being a 1. So I can talk about my consolations too. But so the 1 is sometimes known as the perfectionist. I don't care for that name because I feel like that is a piece of the overall puzzle. But other places it's called the reformer. And for me, like that perfectly sums up what I do is I reform systems, processes. I don't even mean to. It's subconscious, and people when they let me. But you've got to have permission to do that. That's a careful balance there. But as a reformer, that's what I do, and that's what I look to do, and it happens all the time. And the perfectionist is, like I said, a piece of it. And so each number has what this book, the Christian Perspective book, calls like a pitfall, a temptation. And for mine, it's the need to be perfect. And so that's like the struggle of the 1 is this thinking that everything has to be perfect. And if it's not, then it's a failure essentially. And trying to work through that and grow through that and understanding that that's not reality, nor is it even God's plan. Like that's man-made essentially. And it's just an issue within myself. But the 1 moves to 7 in true consolation, which we haven't talked about the 7 yet, but the 7 is very joyful, happy-go-lucky. They call it like the eternal child. It's like Peter Pan that never grew up, in a lot of ways. And so for me, like in good times, like that's where I move. I can enjoy the moment, essentially. Like when I'm good and in a good mental space, I can leave the perfectionist stuff aside, leave the tasks to the side, and just go enjoy the moment. It happens a lot at home. We'll be, kids will want to play, and in my head I know, man, I've got to wash the dishes, the laundry's not done, I haven't taken the trash out, and the trash can goes up tonight. I'm working through all these things that have to be done.
Got to watch out for the raccoons.
You don't know what's going to be in there.
Every
Monsters. And sometimes I need someone to come alongside me, like my wife, who does a really good job of it, to help say, leave the stuff, it's okay. It'll still be there. But just go enjoy the moment. Like just go have fun, wrestle time with the kids, goof off, be crazy. And that's a great place for me to be. And the negative constellation for me, I moved to a 4, which 4s are the individualist, also known as the romantic, but they tend to recluse. They are very creative, but they tend to want to be to themselves. And what I've found is that I have that tendency, like in times of stress, to think that I just need to pull away. I need to pull away by myself. I'll figure it out. When I was a teenager, I was prone to hopping in the car and driving by myself, thought it was a good place for me to be, or I just go out to the basketball court and shoot for hours. Cause I was like, that's going to be good for me. It's going to be healthy. And I didn't realize it at the time, but I can look back and see that I would leave those experiences. I'd get back from my drive, or I'd get back from the basketball court, and nothing would have changed. I would still have felt just as terrible as I did when I left. And so I thought I was like running to something good, but really what I was running to was false consolation. I was running to that, and it wasn't helping me any. What I needed to do was surround myself with some other people that could add some joy to my life, but I would do the opposite because I thought that's where I needed to go. So your false consolation is a place that you find yourself thinking, that's what I should be doing. And then you go there and you're like, but I have no joy in this. And that's why it's false consolation, essentially. So for you, you're running to that 3 mentality of success and achieving.
Come on over. Plenty of room.
Yeah.
But it just doesn't work,
No, it does not.
It just doesn't work.
Where does the 9 go
So
to?
the 9 moves to, the false consolation is the 6. So that is, so that's Ryan. So when you come over here thinking that you need to be all about loyal and worst case scenario mindsets, fear-driven mindset, not a good place. Probably not a good mental space for you to be.
Gotcha.
And then the false constellation of the 3 is the 9. So they're all kind of working backwards. So Daniel, for you, when you go to the 9 and you're trying to play peacemaker and make everyone get along, it's probably not a good place for you to operate in for long term. You might think that you should be there. You might think this is something I need to do, but it's not something that leads you to a good place. You're going to get no joy out of it, basically.
It's really because I just don't care about y'all. It's like,
We know.
Y'all go
It
fight
shows.
go fight if you want to. I don't care what happens.
It shows.
I'll hang out with whoever survives.
So I'll just figure out the worst case scenario that comes up with it.
Absolutely. It happens. It really does.
So, I mean, we don't want to just keep all the fun for ourselves. Is there a good website or something I know you
There
sent
are.
us one.
Yeah,
but if
there's
somebody is listening and they're like, hey, I want to go check out what number am I going to be?
Where I like to start is the Enneagram Coach, and let me see what the actual site is.
But, okay, Ryan, while he's looking that up, here you go. I found some more bad stuff for me. Some of this stuff is like the good stuff. It really, man, I'm all about it. But
Not so much the bad.
well, the
Skip
bad
over
stuff,
that.
man. Some of it, I mean, it does make you look at yourself.
It
and
does.
Like,
It does, man. It does.
all right, Ryan, here you go. Oh, man, I really don't want to read this. All right, so this may not be Daniel specific. I agree with part of this for me in my own life.
Andrew already knows.
Not the
he
whole thing.
already knows your bad stuff,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
you can
Well,
let everybody else in.
for this paragraph, I agree with parts of it, not all of it, in my own life. But
You let us decide that.
I will.
Okay.
You guess what I don't agree with. Deep fear of a number 3, of being worthless, a failure, or incapable, causes them to struggle with deceit, hiding parts of themselves that they don't want others to see, and only portraying a successful exterior. In doing so, they become unaware of who they authentically are in their own heart, which not only affects them, but those around them.
It's interesting that you touched on deceit, because that's actually, according to the Christian Perspective book by Richard Rohr, That's the root sin. So he goes through and gives like a root sin for each number, and then also like a spiritual gifting, which is they're always related. It's always the opposite sides of the same coin, basically. And so for 3s, he actually gives the root sin is deceit. And that's the reason why, like, the biblical example that he gives for type 3s is Jacob, like the ultimate deceiver. And it's just really kind of interesting to shed, like I said, some light and color on that and to think of it through that lens. But from what I've kind of come to understand about 3s is typically you will wear a lot of masks. And so you can walk into a room, and most of the time a 3 can adapt to the situation. So you can walk into a room and it's, you know, a bunch of people that are watching sports, and you're going to blend right in, and you can talk about it, and you can be that person. But you can walk into a different room at the same house, and it's a different conversation, and you can blend right into that environment too. So typically 3s can kind of morph into that, essentially, depending on who they're surrounded by.
I agree with that in
I can
my
see
own
that.
life.
I can see that with you.
Yeah. The deceit thing is, I mean, I guess that strikes a negative chord with me of, like, I'm lying to, like, I'm telling you an outright lie. But so that maybe it's the wording that I don't agree with on that.
Well, it's not always lies.
It's not always lies,
It's
but
not.
the whatever it said about, like, I'm not going to expose any failure. I'm going to show you the best positive scenario for whatever's happening. Like, yeah, that's.
But I feel like a lot of people are like that, though. I mean, I'm not going to go out and just show my flaws right away.
But, like,
You know?
okay, so, man, I don't know that I want to get this raw. But, so for me, like, I am great at compartmentalizing everything, right? Emotions and all, like, I can operate in the most stressful, I can operate really well in a very stressful environment when other people are shutting down, because I can close that off. And, like, it's a task. It's not an emotional, like, and I practiced that, through the Army and a lot of different stuff.
Right.
Like, that was
Yeah.
being successful in
Right.
what I was doing. So lots of, but emotionally connecting with my wife or connecting with someone like, well, that's not good, because those you can't really just turn it on and turn it off.
Nope.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So, yeah.
You kind of had to be that way, I guess, probably in the Army.
This is a whole nother episode, right? A whole nother episode.
Or maybe not. I mean, I'll just
It
you
depends
have
on your job, right? So, all right. I don't want to talk about the Army a lot, because
Right.
it's essentially talking about me, and I don't want the focus to be on me. But the Army is, like, today, I'm very supportive of the military because I was in it for a long time. Very appreciative of people who are supportive. There are a lot of bums in the military, right? And there are a lot of people who try and take advantage of, I was in the Army. Well, yeah, you were there for 6 months and you got kicked out. Like, yeah.
So true.
So like,
Yeah.
it depends. The Army is no different than anywhere. Like, there are people who are just office workers. They're HR rep in the Army, or they drive a truck, or they're a cook, or what. Nothing wrong with any of those jobs, but they're not, like, you're not Rambo. And some people try and portray themselves as that.
Gotcha.
My one thing, and I'm getting off the soapbox, if somebody that you do not know is, like, putting their military record in front of you, hey, let me tell you about this, my opinion, don't believe anything they say about the military. They did nothing. I promise you. So,
Interesting.
I can believe that.
yeah. I don't know what we were talking about before.
Well,
I got
one
you.
thing
I like you on your
one thing we
soapbox.
can
Talk about
jump in.
children.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
we can get into a whole episode about stuff like that.
But, just thinking through, like, deceits and how, like, it can be more than just lying, because I think that would be, like, your natural tendency to think that's all that it is. But, like, one of my pet peeves, I guess, I have is that I can just remember, like, this mindset of going to church as a kid. And it didn't matter, like, what was going on or what had happened that morning or what happened in the car. Like, when you get out, it's all smiles. And everyone acts like you've had the best morning. No one fought, right? It was this expectation.
That is every household
Oh.
of anyone
It is.
who's gone to church. For
It is. But I think for me, like, that captures a little bit of the 3 mindset. It's like, it does not matter what's been going on. Like, I'm going to put on this happy face, and you're going to know that everything is great.
Yeah.
And, one of the things that we used to joke with my dad about is we used to talk about him being Sunday school Ramey. That was just the mentality, because it was just the idea that, everything was great. And at church, everyone thinks that everything is perfect. I have no problems. My kids don't fight. Like, everyone gets along. We all read our Bible every day. It was just like this whole mindset of everything's great. I've blocked everything else off. And I just think that, anybody can get into that. But I think for threes especially, like, that's a struggle. It's this tendency, let me put on this mask that says everything in my world is fantastic and I'm killing it.
Right.
I might not be, but I might pretend that I am. And that's really more of how I see the deceit. It's not like you're sitting here like trying to like lie and scheme all the time, but it's a matter of maybe it's a fear of being real sometimes.
Yeah. And for me too, something like so for me, if I feel like I'm broken down, I'm struggling with something, I can't help you. I'm here. I'm trying to help you. So everything's good with me because I'm here to help you. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Gotcha.
If I'm broke down, I can't help you, kind of deal.
Gotcha.
Makes sense. It does.
What is the sin of a 9?
So the root sin of a 9 is laziness. And on the opposite side of that coin, the fruit of the Spirit is action.
Gotcha.
So like that temptation would be to retreat and do nothing. But when you move to action, that's when you can see God shining through you. And so that's kind of the way that I kind of look at the root sins is they tend to be blind spots. So for a lot of people that are 9s, and you might not be this way, but for a lot of people that are 9s, like they wouldn't necessarily think that they're lazy because they've probably not seen it maybe in their own life, or they've masked it. Like for me, the root sin of a 1 is anger. And I can remember when I was reading this book, I got to that part and I was like, either the author is wrong or I'm not a 1, because I don't have anger. Like and it might sound crazy to say that
as he
out
got
loud.
angry that he was reading.
Right.
I know.
I am not.
But I had convinced myself that I just wasn't. I had convinced myself that I didn't get angry, other than like extreme examples, like getting cut off on the interstate. But like other than those like few examples, I just had told myself that I wasn't angry, and so I didn't think that I had an anger problem. And I remember seeing that and thinking, I don't have a root sin of anger. There's no chance. And then like God started to do a work, and God started to say, well, maybe we should look at this a little bit closer. And what I kind of figured out was that I was really good at controlling my reactions. So something would happen and I'd be angry inside, but I could control my reaction. So people didn't know I was angry, but I fooled myself to thinking I wasn't angry. And then what I found is that like I had unforgiveness in my heart, people that had hurt me that I hadn't forgiven because I never thought I got angry in the first place. And like there was this trickle down effect, and like God was saying, you've got to let go of this, and you've got to have forgiveness, and you can't forgive if you can't even admit that you were hurt and angry in the first place. And so it was almost like this internal work that God wanted to do, saying, if you want this out of your life, if you want this bitterness gone, this is what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to own up to your own problem. And that's kind of where it led me. And that's one of the things that I've loved about this study, was that it showed me a blind spot that I had in my life that I just honestly didn't think was there. As crazy as it sounds.
Do you have Bible characters for every number?
I do,
So
yeah.
what's a 9?
Yeah.
I was Jacob.
So
You were Jacob. So 9 is Jonah.
9 is
So
Jonah.
the prophet Jonah, I think
yeah.
pretty well
I mean,
types out as a 9.
Yeah, no, the laziness and complacency, because I can just younger going through church and everything, I would always kind of say, well, that person will do that. There's a visitor over there. Somebody else will talk to them. I'll just hang out or whatever. And I can vividly all the misses that I've had when I could have gone over and done something. That's just a small example. I mean, there's other areas too, but it's definitely prevalent in my life, or has been.
Does it make you think any differently about the story of Jonah? I mean, I don't know if it does for you or not. If you feel any differently about the situation.
Thinking
that you guys are sharing a number here.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Not wanting to God moving in my life, and me saying, no.
Well, to me,
I'm gonna go down this road and go this avenue, but I can definitely definitely see that.
Looking from an outside, though, from the example you gave of somebody else will do that, and then Jonah kind of running away from God, it's like,
Yeah.
I know what I need to be doing. I don't have to worry about God's plan.
Right.
I don't have to worry about
Yeah.
what He's telling me.
Yeah.
Right.
I got a plan.
Yeah.
work.
I mean, that's completely spot on. Steps all over my toes. All over my toes.
Well, let's just dance on down to Ryan.
We need to dance on Ryan a little bit. We
Yeah.
need to. But I will say,
Giving me that anxiety.
sorry.
Typical 6, Ryan.
Well, so before we get, because your biblical example is good. So before we get there, I think we can need to step on your toes a little bit and talk about, so the root sin of a 6 is fear.
Oh, yeah.
This tendency to fall into the traps of being afraid of anything. And this obviously applies to our spiritual life, because fear is probably the number one thing that holds us back from doing what God wants us to do.
Yep.
And so that's a big thing, but your fruit of the Spirit is courage. So when you're able to be courageous and follow God, it's not something that you're going to do. They call it fruit of the Spirit because it's not something you're going to do in your own strength. It's going to be something that God does within you. It's going to require the Spirit leading, but when the Spirit leads, you can be courageous.
Yeah.
And you can follow even if it's scary and fearful.
Yeah.
You know.
Starting this podcast was me being courageous, because in the beginning I really didn't have interest in doing it, because I was like, I don't want to be in front of a camera. I'm more of a behind the scenes kind of guy. Yeah, I can definitely see that.
Look at you now.
And look at me
Look at
now.
him now.
Look at you
Absolutely.
I haven't had to talk him off the ledge in weeks. But there's every once in a while he'll shoot a text and be like, "Is this really what we're like?" You know,
We're talking about Yosemite?
This next episode, or
We talk about Yosemite this week?
like Ryan, relax, man. Like it's good.
We're all in it together.
It'll
We'll all
work
go
out,
down
man. It'll be
together.
fun.
Yeah.
We have an edit button. It's good.
There we go.
But you need to know your biblical example, though,
Okay.
is Timothy.
Timothy.
So a very loyal servant
Yeah.
who followed through and honestly sets a really nice example in the New Testament of taking the loyal attributes and putting them to good use. Shepherding the church.
Yeah.
Paul started, like I said, you see a lot of really good. So
Yeah.
I felt like you needed to have your toe stepped on a little bit before we got there. We can't be inflating your head too much
Right.
on this. Everyone's
Right.
got to have a toe stepped on some.
Yeah.
All right, I got it. There's my guess for what Andrews is going to be. That's going to be his Bible character right there.
That's a big one. That's a big one.
is
You want
a
to share that?
Well,
No.
I'm
Yeah,
not,
you got
after
we're gonna
after
wait
he
till
says
afterwards.
it.
No.
Yeah.
You have
He's
to
gonna
share.
wait.
No.
John.
Hey,
He's gonna
put it
wait,
up to
John.
the camera.
That's a big
I
one.
mean, I wrote
That's a
it.
big
I
one.
wrote it down on purpose. Like
Yeah.
I can't change it. I wrote it down.
You're gonna love it, Andrew. Go ahead and give us your character.
We're not going to go with the guest first.
No, we'll reveal after.
Okay.
Technically, yes. Well, he doesn't
Like
have
I
a
wrote
eraser.
it down. I did write it
Okay.
down.
Well,
It's
so
an- it's
the
an
biblical example is Paul.
ink. Okay, that's
Gotcha.
pretty
Do you have
good
it?
one, too. No.
No. Okay.
He went.
Well,
you can
I
tell
mean,
him.
you said you were a perfectionist. I went Jesus.
Well, so, and this, yeah, I mean, Jesus is really kind of an encapsulation of all. And that's
All right.
when you start to look at it and you start to think through, and that's kind of why I feel like there's Christian ties to this study. And that's so many people have thought the same thing.
For sure.
Is because like Jesus really encapsulates every number at different times, not all at the same time, but he shows the perfect version of each in different phases of his
Jesus
life.
was perfection,
Absolutely.
not a perfectionist.
But that's a
Correct.
good way to say it.
It is.
yeah.
I
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's kind of why I like this study, is because this is not meant to pigeonhole you. It's not meant to
Right.
say this is where you are, don't change, people will accept you. It's meant to say the goal is to change. The goal is to move and to improve and mature, because like Jesus perfectly captures each number. So that means it can be done. So if we're striving to be like him, that means we're going to have to strive to be like other numbers and grow outside of what our comfort zone might be.
Gotcha.
So anyhow, but for me, like I said, when I look at Paul as an example, it makes perfect sense. You can see Paul reforming every single time he writes a letter. I mean, he's got good things to say. He's got encouraging things to say, but if you look at every single one of his writings, like he's reforming those churches every chance he gets.
reformed his own life to
He
start
did.
He
himself.
did. Yes.
And then like
Yeah.
So it makes perfect sense. And before I had ever, come to this study, I'd always loved Paul's ministry. And so it just I don't know, when I saw that he was the example, I was like, well, that just makes sense. Because I've always felt like he resonated with me. And so it's like when you see similarities, you're like, that's the reason why. Of course it did.
Yeah. I mean, this is expert level stuff. He said he tried to downplay the expert. I'm playing it up even more now after.
You should. Dude, he's...
Well, no, it's about the resources. So the website, I found the website. So it's the one that I like is your YOUR enneagramcoach.com. And if you put a /assessment in there, it takes you right to the quiz. It's a free quiz.
I would spell that too because I had no idea. Like the spelling's a little tricky.
So YOUR ENNEAGRAM
Your Enneagram code. The Enneagram, like,
you can go
you know, I don't remember that as a spelling word growing up.
It'll be a tough one.
Yeah.
It put a lot of people out. For sure.
I don't even know if they do that anymore.
Spelling bees?
Spelling bees?
I think so.
Well,
They're the national ones.
Well, spelling bees yet, but so when you were in school,
Just like spelling tests.
every
that
week
was a long time ago.
right? But you had spelling words every week, and you had a spelling
did?
test, right?
Uh-huh.
So you had to whatever these 15 words were.
Oh, yeah.
Like you had to remember them, right?
Oh, yeah.
Did you have to do that?
Oh, yeah. That and you have
I don't
your
know.
bonus word for extra
I
credit.
don't know if they
and-
still...
I don't think Carter had to do that.
Really?
I don't think so.
I think private schools are still
Amelia
doing
has.
that.
Yeah,
Amelia
I'm-
has to...
I don't know about public school, but I think private
yeah.
schools are.
We're fully in the public school world. So
Gotcha.
I might be wrong, and I'll admit it. I'll ask the boss.
Amelia has a spelling test. But
I think he did it like very briefly,
yeah.
but like I remember as a kid, like every year it felt like I was doing that
Yeah.
for I don't know till like 5th or 6th grade, something crazy.
You know what stress I would not have in my life in high school and in middle school if I did not have spelling bees? It would have been great.
You didn't like them, I'm guessing.
Oh, I hate it. I can't spell now. Imagine me in 6th and 7th grade. Oh, it was the worst.
So I think autocorrect has ruined people
Oh, for sure.
spelling
For sure.
because now they're just give me 3 letters and I'll let the
Well, not even that.
AI fill
let
it
me, let me
in.
just hit the microphone button so I can just
Well,
say it to it,
that
and it does
too,
it for
yeah.
me.
That's true.
But
I don't even have to find the extra letters.
I find myself in that. It's like I used to know how to spell this word, but now I'm just give me the first 3 letters, and that's all I need. Might be me.
Might be.
I just took that mask off. Welcome to the show.
There it
people.
is.
There it is.
Exactly.
There
That's
it is.
growth right in front of our eyes.
I can't. I'm not
Zach's
going to win a
3.
spelling
I
bee.
think Zach's a 3 too.
Is he?
I could be wrong, but
What's the
I
number
think
for
he is.
T's? Because Zach does a lot of teasing over here. I don't know. That's kind of an inside joke. We don't have time to share it today, but maybe on a few. That'll be in the newsletter. Sign up on the website for the newsletter. We'll
Yep.
tell you about that one. But Andrew, man, there's so much more. We didn't even get into everything, but man, we're kind of running short on time. We'll have you back. We'll dive into this. This was the beginner lesson here. I think
This
we'll
is
go
awesome.
to the advanced lesson next time. And
It was good.
Yeah.
man, it was fun.
We hit on a few deep things. We scratched the surface, but we
we
dove
did.
deep a couple of times.
For sure.
Yeah.
But check out that website. Let us know. We'd like to know what your numbers are and if you agree or disagree and what you agree or disagree with your number and some of those traits. But
Definitely.
it was fun. I had
It
fun.
was. He's got to
Definitely.
come back and
I'm
talk about
blessed.
discipleship groups.
Discipleship groups. He's
Yeah.
got to
Yeah.
come play the guitar and sing a song.
Sure,
And
sure.
we got music stories and stuff we didn't even get to this time. So
That's true.
Exactly.
we'll do. We don't have a guest for next week yet, so you might be back.
Maybe back to
yeah.
back.
Maybe
Go
back
part
to
1,
back.
part
Hey.
2.
Yeah. So we'll give it different titles so that people think
There
they're
you go.
getting something new and fresh.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'll wear something different too. Exactly.
Well, I got a stack of T-shirts over there. They make fun of me. 'Cause, why do you have these shirts?
It's a little dressing room over there.
And if I don't like what I'm wearing, I'll change shirts.
Absolutely.
His own green room.
That's right. But I actually brought a shirt today, but I didn't change. I rocked what I had. So
There you go.
you got a Bible verse?
I do.
You can always go verse of the day.
Verse of the day.
Could go verse of the day.
Well, I don't know. Let's see. Where's this one?
He doesn't have the Bible app. He doesn't know what you're talking about.
You gonna air that?
We are making him so anxious right now.
Yeah.
It is. It is.
The fear of not having
That
a Bible
fear
verse
is
is
creeping
coming
in.
on
It's
strong.
creeping in.
Stop it. The verse that I have is Philippians 2:4-5. Let each of you look not only to his own interests, but also to the interests of others. Have this mind among yourselves, which is yours in Christ Jesus. So,
well, Andrew, man, thanks again. This was fun. This is not just a personality test, but you did great explaining it. This is a good way to, go deeper with your faith, and man, this was great. So check it all out. Thanks for coming, Andrew.
Absolutely, glad to do it, guys.
Take that test.
Yeah, we'll see you
Absolutely.
guys again next week right here on GPS to God. That's it.
I can't believe her name is Brooke.
Yeah.
Can't believe you just said Brooklyn.
Well, I never really talked to her, and then I saw the picture on Instagram, and I was like,
Sister.
Brooklyn, like, and she just looked at me like that was her. I was like, all
She'll
right,
respond. She will. She's not going to make a scene out of it. So.
Thank you for listening to GPS to God. Please leave us a rating on your podcast app, and also subscribe on YouTube. Hit the bell if you would like to receive notifications when new episodes air.